Hi cellists, welcome to a rather late lesson, I'm afraid. Do you know what? We're headed for lockdown again, and we have a lot of organising to do when there's a lockdown looming. Lots of people to look after, and just organise things like just making sure that the business is going to run smoothly, and that everyone's catered for, and nobody's falling by the wayside. All of these things really important. So consequently, I haven't done a cello lesson for a few days, but we're back on schedule now. Now, the good thing about a lockdown is when there's nowhere to go, you're not allowed to go anywhere, it's a really good opportunity to do lots of music. So I hope wherever you are, if you're probably having a lockdown or thereabouts, certainly if you're in Europe. And I know I saw that New York's lockdown pretty much, and we're allowed, I think we've got Christmas, and then it's proper lockdown. So what are we going to do today? I'm going to do a couple of things today. I'm going to do this class for the Suzuki, and then I'm going to do a music therapy class. They're really short, my little podcasts, and I just feel that people are so down at the moment that I think the music therapy is going to really help us. So you can join me for that. Anyway, this broadcast is sponsored by the Telltale Club, which is the website, the main website, and you can pop over there and see what else we do. Not so much cello, more. Well, there is lots of cello, but it's with the video and with the stories, but no lessons to speak of. So you're in the right place if it's a lesson that you want. Now, what I'm going to do today is the first position, and I guess really we should have the drone on from now on. So let's pop the drone on. I'll pop it on sort of quietly to start with, because you need to hear. Oh, I have to do a code. I'm going to pause this. There we go. Now I've got it on fairly quietly, so you can hear me. But what I'll do is at the end of this broadcast, I'll play it for quite a long while, and I want you to get used to playing all our exercises now with our backing tracks. Really important. So what's all this first position? What does that mean? Well, first position is where we all start playing the cello. And you might think, well, why are we starting up there? Wouldn't it be easier to start sort of at chest level? And you're kind of right. The chest level position, which is actually fourth position, it does feel a bit more comfortable for us human beings. So this is a bit awkward, but it's so rudimentary to understanding the spacings in the cello map that once it's set, even though it seems rather hard and rather uncomfortable, once it's set in your brain, your life as a musician is going to be just much, much easier. Now, a couple of things to think about. You want to have your elbow, your wrist and your pinky in a sort of straight line. Everything should be nicely level. We don't want any kinked wrists, for example. You don't want your elbow stuck really high up in the air so that, your palms coming forward or anything like that. There's plenty of time later on when you're doing fancy things further down the fingerboard to start bending and misshaping yourselves. For now, we keep this lovely straight sort of perpendicular line, and the claw shape, which we don't want to be a rigid claw, but it's a good way of describing it. The claw shape of the fingers in first position is a sort of standard. You might notice that your third finger and your fourth finger, when you put the four fingers down in that first position, I hope you're looking at the pictures in the Suzuki book, you might notice that the third and the fourth fingers are sort of closer together than the others. So that's because they're tied with a tendon, and you're going to have to counteract that when you start to do notes that require those. You're going to have to tell your brain just to stretch your tendons a little bit there to accommodate. But we don't need to accommodate it with the first position in D major, because we're not using our second finger. We're going straight to third and fourth. So we're doing 1, 3, 4, and that's because we're playing a sharpened note. So we're missing out a note. So if you're looking at a piano, you'd be playing a black note as well as your white notes. How exciting. So what's harder on the piano is a bit easier on the cello for the moment, but that will soon change. So let's just do, let's check our feet are firmly on the ground, darlings. Are they? And let's just take a few breaths. Look out the window if you can. And really breathe in nice and deeply and steadily. And just take 3 breaths for me. That's better, isn't it? I mean, you can really feel that relaxation, I think, coming in now. So we'll hold our bow, and if you need 2 hands just to place your bow and check in the mirror that it's nice and perpendicular, and very lightly with your bow hand, your hand is a support. It's not going to be a force, it's a support. I think that's the best way of describing it. So let's just do a couple of D strings all the way to the end. Well, not all the way, about 2 inches to the end, and then all the way back down to the frog, or close to the frog, a couple of inches will do, and then one more. And breathing while you do that. You'll notice when I talk, my stroke is less steady. That's because I'm talking instead of breathing, because when you're talking, your breathing becomes unsteady. It's punctuated with words and different emphasis. And also, when I'm talking, my chest is moving, and the cello, therefore, is moving. So that's why sometimes you won't hear such a smooth note. So it's a case of do as I say, not as I do, when that's happening. Right, let's have a look. Open string D, nothing too difficult there. And then I do that with a down bow. And then I'd use the sort of middle third section for now. And stay where you are there, and then put 1 finger down. And then stay where you are and put all 3 fingers down. So you're putting your second down as well. And then put your 4th down. Okay, now you'll notice there's a little mark over the 3 and the 4, and that means to keep your all fingers down while you play those 2 notes. So you don't lift 3 fingers up to use the 4th. So you're engaging, and then you're staying there with all 4 fingers down. And this is key to Suzuki method. And it's so useful. It really helps with the future. So please keep those fingers down. And the other thing I'm going to recommend that you do is you do these in groups of 4 and really learn them well. It really trains your fingers, your ear, it trains your style and the way that you're moving. Everything becomes a habit, and forming really good habits at this key stage, that's what we're looking for. So the next bit of this exercise is to swap strings. Okay, and do the next 4. Etc. I was pressing a bit hard there. You wouldn't need to do anything quite as dramatic as that. That's really for the benefit of the podcast. So, holding down, string crossing, holding down. And that is, actually don't hold that last note down, they're all the same length. Okay, so practice that often and plenty. And then, should we do this next bit or should we wait? I think we can do it. So, the next bit, we've got nice staccato notes. String swap. start on your 4th, but you should have all 4 fingers already down. So this is a sort of follow on from the, I think, I'm not sure if that's a warm-up bit, that first bit. So I'm not sure what that means, because it's not very clear. I think this bit is a warm-up, but I'd recommend that's what I'd recommend, and then do it again. So you've already got your 4 fingers down, and then you don't have to think, because you're just going to play what you've already played. Now, of course, these are staccato notes, so they're nice and short. So don't spend too much bow on them, and do them as fast or slowly as you as 4. Or, if you prefer, or up to you, entirely up to you. The point is, this is an exercise for keeping the fingers down. It's not really, it doesn't really matter what else is going on for the moment. Of course, we want to play the notes in the right tune. So I tell you what I'll do. I will pop this volume up a little bit. Do we like that romantic strings example? I think we do. And I'll play this for a few minutes so you can practice without me. Okay, how did you get on? I think that's rather good, actually, don't you? I love doing, you know, when you have to repeat things for a long time, if you've got an interesting backing track, I mean, look, that's not particularly interesting, but it's much better than nothing, and it's really helping our ear. And of course, you'll end up following the rhythm and the timbre and everything, all it starts to seep in, and you might start playing around with this exercise and adopting some different timings and things like that, which I think is fine. I'm all about the experiment, as you know. So let's just read the instructions here. Play the fourth finger, keep the first, second, third fingers down on the string. That's sort of what I explained, I think. And think and prepare for the next position of your finger and repeat it on the A string. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to recommend that you do this, these fourths, these groups of fourths, because even we can do it, all the way through. And it's actually, when we start doing what you've just learned, we can take to the other strings as well. And we can do this 1, 2, 3, 4 practice. And it really is very exciting. And before you know it, you're going to feel very, very much more accomplished. But doing it in fours and thinking of these in sections of 4 makes, if you start compartmentalising little things in your head, it's much easier to practice 4 notes than it is to practice 8 notes, and then put them together. And you'll find that if you're practicing bars, it doesn't matter that you're practicing separate bars, because there would be, in the natural scheme of things, a differentiation when you go to the next bar. Actually, it's usually a very, very slight pulse pressure that changes. And so that works quite nicely, doing bar by bar practices. But also when we do our scales, which we're going to start at the bottom of this page, I'm going to recommend that we also do that formation. So you practice your scales in sections of 4. I think it's really, really helpful for the ear. So there we go. That's today's class over. I think I'll make them a bit longer now. I think now that you're becoming a proper cellist, we can extend class, don't you? So I think what I might do is run them for about 15 minutes. And, when I get really excited, I can talk for Britain and hopefully help you. Look, we're having a lockdown. Let's get really good at our cello and our piano. I'm going to do a piano class now. I suppose I should tell you www.tailteller.club in case you don't already know.